it, and I must say a big thank you to all those people who've been commenting and liking my videos on social media recently. Now, today is Sunday, the 15th of August 2021, and for many of us of Indian origin, it's Indian Independence Day. But that aside, we all welcomed the end of COVID restrictions, but a side effect of that was the huge increase in demand for petrol and diesel, and with it, demand has outstripped supply, so the price has gone up. So I'm here to tell you ways how you can cut down your petrol and diesel use today for free without any change of mileage or any change of use. Okay, by what I'm about to teach you will drastically cut your fuel, your petrol and diesel use. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. First things first, when you fill up, as of today, try to avoid filling up in the daytime. If you can, fill up at night, especially in summer. Now, the reason for this is quite simple. In the summer, the sunlight heats the ground. Now, in some cases, that can actually heat the petrol and diesel that's stored underground. When you heat any form of fluid, it expands, and so basically you're filling your car with heated fuel. What happens is you drive it, and overnight it will contract, and that's why sometimes you basically find that you fill up in the daytime and next day it's gone down considerably. That's why. Now, there are variations of this. It very much depends on the distance between, it depends how deeply your petrol and diesel is stored underground. Sometimes it's as little as that, sometimes it's about 4 or 5 meters. It very much depends. But generally speaking, please do fill up at night. Now, ladies, an important point, don't go alone. Okay, if you're going to fill up at night, make sure you take someone with you. We don't want you compromising your safety. Next thing here is fill up slowly. Petrol and diesel evaporates faster than you can imagine. Now, so what happens is, just to give an example, turn on your shower with a trickle of water. You'll lose a little bit of steam. You turn it on at full pelt, you'll lose loads. So when you fill up as slowly as possible to avoid evaporation. And this applies doubly if you're doing this in the daytime, which you shouldn't be doing, because basically you'll lose a lot from evaporation. So don't do it. When you fill up, okay, fill up when your tank is half full, because if you wait till it's empty, okay, what actually happens is it gives more space for evaporation. Okay, whereas half full, there's less scope for it. That's why sometimes if you've got an empty tank and you open up, you get the smell of petrol and diesel, because a lot of it has evaporated. So make sure you do that. Make sure that whenever you can, and this is important, that if they're having a delivery, you don't fill up, because that can all the sludge and all that at the bottom of the tank can end up in the storage tank, can end up in your tank. You don't want that. Now, if you can, now in my day job as a personal trainer, I actually used to do home visits. So I'd bunch my appointments together, so I won't be driving too far between them. If you can, bunch your appointments together. But one thing is very, very important. If you are driving in the daytime, please, if you can, try to avoid driving between 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and between 4 and 6. Drive off peak whenever you can. That basically cuts down your fuel use. When you are driving, get yourself into fourth gear or fifth gear as quickly as you can. One of the biggest wastes of fuel is where people wait till they're 10 miles per hour before first gear, 20 miles an hour before second, 30 in third, 40 in fourth, and so on. No, get up to fourth gear as quickly as you can. When you are driving, drive smoothly, okay? The more jerking of your accelerator, the more you use your fuel. Basically, drive smoothly and you'll find you'll use a lot less. Trust me on this. The next thing here is, and one thing you will find, that once you are at 55 miles an hour, which I'll come to in a minute, it takes very little effort to actually stay there. When you are driving on the motorway, and let's assume you do, try not to drive at 70 miles an hour. If you're driving off peak, try to do 55 miles an hour. That's the most efficient speed. And when you are driving, if at all possible, I do recognise it's summer. Try to keep the windows up and don't turn your air conditioning on. I get it, summer. In summer, you might have no choice but to put the windows down. You might have no choice but to put the air conditioning on. But in winter, keep the windows up, keep the air conditioning off. If you can, remove any roof racks. Okay, they increase the drag on your car. On top of that, keep the car as empty as possible. The emptier it is, the better, the lighter your car is, the less work your engine's got to do. Very important, service your car annually, every 10,000 miles. Now, what I do with my petrol, with my garage, is I pay them £30 a month, and every year, what actually happens is it's largely prepaid, so there's no big surprises. That's what you should do. Don't rely on just an annual MOT. I get my service and MOT done on the same day. It's prepaid because I pay them £30 a month. Next thing is, okay, your tyres. Very, very important. Keep your tyres at optimal pressure. Now, there's a key to doing this. What you should be doing is you should make sure your car has not been driven for about 4 to 6 hours. Then, when it's dark, especially when it's dark, pump them up to optimal pressure using a foot pump. The reason why you want to do it in the dark is because the sunlight heats the black tyres. In the daytime, what happens is that'll cause your tyres to the air in your tyres to expand. What you want to do is make sure it's in the dark and then fill it up. If you have your proper inflated tyres, you can actually reduce your fuel use by 3 to 5%. I'm just going through my list now. If you are a commercial driver, let's say you're a taxi driver or an HGV vehicle driver, use a fuel card. You can your petrol and diesel is typically about 5 to 10% less, and for taxi drivers, that is your major expense. Just going through my list at the moment. The other thing I'll also mention that you do, if possible, balance your car. Okay, so for example, if you've got 2 passengers, try have one on the right, one on the left. If you've got 3 passengers, make sure your passenger is halfway between you on the back seat. Okay, try and balance it out. That'll actually save a bit of energy. Now, it's a lot to take in. I get that. So what I'd like you to do, if you like what I've told you today, because what I've told you today can reduce your fuel use between 10 and 20% for literally nothing. Just, if you're on Facebook, message me, friend me, and then give me your email address. I'll get the fact sheet sent out to you. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see somewhere around this video, you'll see a link to a fact sheet to get it from. My job here is to save you on fuel use. I'm a personal trainer. I'm here to serve you. Thank you very much for your time. I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.